Well, hello there. My name is Mark Rizzn Hopkins, and I am the founding editor of the SiliconANGLE Network.
Hello and welcome everyone to another MMO Anthropology interview. I'm here with Mark Rizzn Hopkins in Minecraft. Welcome to the show, Rizzn.
Howdy.
Well, as usual, newcomers, the first thing that I like to ask is, why did you choose Minecraft?
So I chose Minecraft because not so much this year, but last year I certainly spent more than my fair share amount of time in the game, socializing with real world and virtual friends of mine and building. And I've been a user or a user player. Not sure the distinction where that distinction lies, but I've been playing with Minecraft more or less since whenever it came out. I was pretty early on. Saw a blog post on a not mainstream blog talking about what's this new obsession everyone has. I got in when it was like $15 for a lifetime
Nice.
license or whatever, so that gives you an idea of when it was. And then I just kind of got addicted to it. It's one of those things where it's just like Legos. You play with it, and you see the world that you can build around you, and it's got that sense of adventure. It really sucks you inside of it, and I've just been building stuff ever since.
Oh yeah, and I totally agree. Minecraft is very much like Legos, even down to the block-oriented application and constructing stuff. I mean, the region that we're sitting in here right now is the MMO Anthropology Minecraft server, and this, well, people can't see the flag. This is a pirate ship that some individuals built. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing Mark Hopkins here is that he's been involved in some also collaborative projects involved in Minecraft, and I believe that you worked on a server called something like Digital Buffalo?
TechnoBuffalo.
TechnoBuffalo.
So a former alum of ours, it's actually before your time at SiliconANGLE, guy by the name of Sean Piani. He worked with Kristen Nicole and I at Mashable as well. Is now the editor-in-chief over at TechnoBuffalo, and what brought me into to Minecraft was what brought me back into it, I guess, was the addition of multiplayer and the launch of the multiplayer server over TechnoBuffalo. He just messaged me one day, hey, we got a Minecraft server, you should play it, and I did, and I built tons of things for their server.
There's two things that I'd really love for you to talk about in your experience with TechnoBuffalo. One of them is the collaborative experience. As I understand, you have constructed some ideas on how to affect and generate cities on servers, and the second one is was about the outgrowth of that, which has to do with new people coming into the server and doing stuff. So, first, could you start out by describing one of the challenges that can be suffered by servers like TechnoBuffalo when new people come in and they immediately start constructing stuff?
Well, and this is the interesting thing about Minecraft in general, since the addition of multiplayer, is that it plays upon kind of a need to show off our Legos in kind of a social way that we never really, I guess as kids or even adults that play with them, have a way of doing other than maybe taking a video and putting it on YouTube. But the collaborative and social nature of claiming a plot of land and building something there and having people just happen upon it and admire it. There's something somewhat primal about that aspect of Minecraft that satisfies a lot of folks, I think. And so what tends to happen on a well-trafficked site like or server like TechnoBuffalo's is that you get these great big cities that build up around spawn. And the practice on TechnoBuffalo is that every time the new version of Minecraft came out, they would wipe out the map. They'd kind of archive it. You could download it and you could portal to it, and they'd start over and a clean slate. And so we got to see the same kind of uh, things happen over and over again. And inevitably, because they would put some sort of big monument or big sort of monolithic structure near spawn, and then people would build out around it. And every iteration, things got built out in a more orderly fashion, a more stylized fashion. If you go to TechnoBuffalo now, you'll definitely see the stylized version of what always tends to get built every time there's a new server. But as time goes on, newbies would come in, griefers would come in, and a beautiful site tends to attract. Oh, looks like I lost connection.
Yeah, so did I. It looks like the server might have had an issue. Oh, I'm right back in again. So go ahead and rejoin me.
All right.
The joys of using a virtual world in order to process an interview, which is part of the idea of these interviews, is to bring people and have them speak in the virtual world that they do most of their work in or play in.
So when as when you build up a city and you have this nice grouping of interesting structures around there, I don't pretend to understand the psychology of griefing, but I know that it exists and it's horrible and it's
Yeah.
annoying, especially if you put time and effort into your stuff. So uh, it just became a big problem. So the idea that we came up with, well, the goal was to create ideas or ways to encourage people to spread out. And the first experiment that I did, to help with that, was to build an extensive rail system,
Mm-hmm.
and we had three little cities that we started out, or many kind of settlements that we started out, were far from spawn, in excess of 5,000 blocks away from spawn. Absolutely nothing within eyesight to the horizon around it. And we built a large monolithic structure, and we created a little train station as close as we could to Spawn Central, and we connected the outlying cities with tracks in kind of a mesh network as best we could.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always possible to do a perfect mesh or perfect star network, but we did the best we could. And once people figured out that there was stuff out there, building around spawn decreased and increased in these outlying settlements. And of course, the more fantastic of the monolithic structure in the center of the settlement, the better, more popular it was as a place to move to and to build new stuff around. Because people just want to be around cool things because they want their cool thing to be associated with a bigger cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I hear that you had some ideas on how to upgrade that and make it look more interesting, and so I'm really curious about what you did and how you developed it.
Yeah, so after we did that first one, it was time. A new, I think 1.0 was about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I created, and what we're looking at here is.
I'm going to put up some screenshots of what Mark is looking at, because right now he's in another instance of Minecraft flying around, and he's going to take screenshots of what he's done, and I'm going to overlay it as he talks about it.
Right. Right. So this is a screenshot. What we're looking at here is it was a pretty massive project to kind of lay it out. Actually, let me get really close in here, and you can see what the sidewalk looks like. The sidewalk here is what I was talking about, kind of like the stylized version of kind of what a road looks like on the TechnoBuffalo server. You've got the little glowstone in the middle of the walkways and everything. Mm-hmm. But as you pull out, I'm going to go fly up here and see the whole thing. You can see I've got different types of tracks, different types of it looks like long structures. And what these are the tracks that would be placed above the roads that exist already within the cities. And as it gets further out, there's versions of these tracks that just kind of lay on the ground. But the way they brought in some of the mods would bring in these monolithic structures. They build them in creative mode on their servers, and then they use FC edit to put them into the world file. And so what I did was I created little tiles for every possible intersection, every possible train station that could exist within a transport network. so they could basically copy and paste as needed. And so we found the optimal distance between cities that works, and we found when you place them certain amount of distance from each other, there's not a real need to have rails that go in both directions. So as you can see here, we still do have two rails. What we found works the best is that you have an express and a local. Right? So the express goes to the end of the line, and the local will make stops along the way, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it's both are kind of necessary and to kind of satisfy all the different kind of use cases. But this is what ends up being the best way to travel from point A to point B, as it were, and to keep people from clustering too much. So
well, and aside from becoming a well thought out use case network for the rails, what we've just seen is actually an extremely good looking train system with stops and covered awnings and a sort of an interesting architecture that would become the basis for like almost a Roman aqueduct sort of look.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? Yeah. As you started finding the optimal distance, were you trying like different like locations for cities and etc.? Did you discover that people, even if a city with a really interesting artifact in it was extremely distant, did you find more people going there because of word of mouth, or was it generally sort of a population degrades as distance increases?
Well, it's a mix of both. I mean, the people who built the monolithic stuff tend to have their own method of marketing their area. Some people tried to sell, because there is an economic system inside of the TechnoBuffalo system. They have the little internal, I can't remember what the name of the plugin is, but there's some sort of dollar system and shop system. And so some people would pay people to come out, and some people would sell land, because there was a land selling system built in and everything. So they would claim the larger plot and then sell lease plots to them, there was different methods of getting people to come out there.
Right.
Generally the financial rewards of coming out there didn't really have as much of a impact as just like the coolness of the structure. Because the one that was the most popular, I can't remember the name, what they called their city. But this guy, he must have spent, days without sleeping building his stuff. It was a Roman Colosseum, Roman themed system, and it was like it had to have been 1-to-1. These giant mansions and everything was built out of rare elements, and it was quite impressive. And my little monolithic structure was a hollowed out mountain with a bunch of redstone mechanisms inside of it, and that appealed to certain people, but not quite as many as the others.
Right. Well, we're coming up on the end of the amount of time that I have for this interview, so I'm wondering, is there anything about your experience in Minecraft that we haven't covered that you'd really like to elucidate for our audience?
Well, I mean, I've got kids. I've got 11 and 5 are the ages of my kids, and both of them are avid players. They play on the Xbox. But I think what really, and why I've encouraged it, what really appeals to me the most, aside from the stuff I've already described, is the redstone system. And I'm sure you've seen plenty of the people recreating chipsets within Minecraft, and it's amazing to the extent that you can build complexity and logic circuits in there. And I've been using it as kind of a tool for teaching the kids, about basic electronics and basic logic. And I think there is an untapped potential for this being a teaching tool. I mean, some of it we saw described in that Minecraft documentary that came out not too long ago. But
right.
I think it is yet to spread to the rest of the world, and there's something big inside of here. I just can't wait to see it reveal itself.
I totally agree. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this MMO Anthropology interview, and everyone should thank my good friend Mark Rizzn Hopkins for coming along and talking about his experience.
I appreciate you having me on. I
And
really enjoyed it.
indeed, and for our last hurrah, I'd like to use creative mode and make some TNT, and we can blow up part of a wall because there's some redstone stuff right over here.
Awesome.
That is assuming that we'll be able to blow up part of the wall, but some of my users made this little TNT cannon right here. Go ahead and do the honors and hit the button right there. It's right here.
Ah, okay. I shall do so.
Bombs away! Eventually. Oh, and nothing happened. I put the TNT in the wrong place.
Oh.
Let's try this again. There. So, yeah, let's try again. Bombs away! It didn't quite make it, but you see the idea. It is a little redstone contraption. That was our finale. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Rizzn, for coming along. That's it. Good night and good dreams.
Do you play online games? Do you have Skype? Then we'd love to interview you on Massive Online Anthropology. Join the fascinating thousands who've spoken about their online gaming experience and be the envy of all your friends. Or at least get the MMO Anthropology Geek Merit Badge. Sorry, no t-shirt. See you then!